Hey guys, this is Nick from ForexNoobs.com, and in this video I'm going to be showing you some TradingView tips and tricks. One of the most common questions I'm asked when I share my daily analysis on YouTube is, Nick, how do you get those blue shaded areas around your support and resistance lines? And that's just one of the many questions I get asked about TradingView. I actually counted the TradingView related emails I received in the last month. It was 38, and that was a slow month. Some people even email me asking for general TradingView support like I own the company, which I do not. But I get it. I'm not blaming them. Charting platforms can be confusing and some people just need some help figuring things out. So I've done two things to help you out. First, I've written an absolutely huge TradingView beginner's guide. This guide is 100% free and it teaches you everything you need to know to get started with TradingView, along with answering hundreds of questions that you might have about the platform. You'll find a link to this guide below the video. Second, I've made this video that you're watching right now. In this video, I'm going to go through some of the features you see me use in my daily analysis, such as the infamous shaded support resistance areas, which I'll show you how to place, how to use the risk to reward ratio tool and some advanced settings on that you might not know about, how to set flags so you can easily track setups even across different trading strategies, and a few other cool features. Just to be clear, I'm not sponsored by TradingView in any way. I'm just a happy user and people ask me a ton of questions about TradingView, so I thought I'd do what I could to help. Let's get started with support resistance areas. Okay, so you'll see on my chart that I have these blue shaded areas that I use as support resistance. Now, a lot of people, when they're placing support resistance on their charts, they'll use just the normal horizontal line tool like this. And then they'll double click it and they'll see there's no options to add shading. That's because I'm not using the horizontal line tool. I'm actually using the parallel channel tool, which is down here. The parallel channel tool allows you to place these shaded areas. Now, when you first use it, it's not going to look like my one. It's probably going to look a little bit more like, I can't remember exactly what it looked like when I first used it, but it was something like this. Just two lines that don't extend out. All you need to do is double click it and change some of the settings. Click middle to give you a center line. Click background to give it some shading, and then click extend left, extend right to extend it left and right. And if you want to have dotted boundaries, then you can simply drop down here, click that, and boom, you have dotted boundaries. That's how I do mine, but you could change them to any color you want. You could even just make these outer lines disappear by setting them to white. Or if you don't want to make them disappear, you can make them a darker blue, you can make them thicker, you can do whatever you want. There's a lot of options. And you can also save them as a template. So you could save, make it red like that. And let's give it an orange background and pink outer lines. Some crazy colors, and then save it as a template. And now I'll double click one of my normal ones that I have and I'll change it to the crazy template. Boom, there you go. And I hit Control Z on my keyboard to undo all the changes because I'm not going to have those crazy ones there. So that's how you do support resistance areas on TradingView. Okay, let's switch over to USD CAD. Now we're going to talk about the risk to reward ratio tool. Whenever I'm looking at a potential setup in my daily analysis or even in my own personal analysis, I'll use the risk to reward ratio tool to visualize the entry, stop, and target and to get important information such as my actual risk to reward ratio for the setup. Now let's use this USD CAD short as an example, which I shared in last Thursday's analysis. To use the risk reward ratio tool, you simply click this button here and you'll see long position, short position. Now this is a short position, so we're going to click short position here and we've placed the risk to reward ratio tool on our chart. You grab this little toggle here to make it smaller or less wide, and the toggles up the top here to make the stop smaller, the target smaller, and this one here allows you to move the whole tool. Now, what this basically is, the red area is your stop loss, the green area is your target, and the central area is your entry. So this is the entry, Anything between here to here is when the trade's in a loss. Anything between the entry to here is when it's heading towards target and you're making profit. So the central line goes at your entry point. The entry point for this was around about here, something like that. Now the stop loss was roughly just above the indecision candle, which was around about there. And the target, which wasn't yet hit, was around about down here at a risk to reward ratio of 2, which is shown here by the tool. Pretty handy. Now, as you can see, this allows you to quickly visualize your trade setup. Now, if you're not using TradingView to trade, which most of you aren't, you can use this tool to quickly get your entry, target, and stop loss, because after placing it like this, you double click it, you go to coordinates, and it tells you your entry price, tells you your stop price, and it tells you your target price. So you can just copy and paste these over to your trading platform or enter them in manually. Now there's another cool feature that most people don't really know about. I personally don't use this feature, but it might be useful for you. If you go over to style, you can put in your account size here. So let's say you have a $10,000 account and you could put in your risk as a percentage or as the amount for this trade. We're just going to stick to a percentage, go 1% risk. Now, as you can see, this is adjusted and now it shows us how much money will be left in our account if we lose this trade, amount 9,900, and how much money will be left in our account if we win this trade, 10,190. So that is pretty cool. Now, obviously these numbers aren't exact because they cannot possibly take into account slippage and your broker's fees, but they are pretty much close to what you're going to get. So this is a pretty awesome tool. Now let's take a look at flags. Flags are one of the coolest features in TradingView. They're pretty new, but they're an absolute game changer. Flags allow you to mark pairs on your watch list. So when you come back, you remember what you were looking at. So let's say, for example, you have an active trade on 2 pairs, and then you have a few potential setups on another 3 or 4 pairs. Whenever you come back to your charts after a few hours away from it, it's quite easy to forget what's going on. But with flags, you can mark the pairs. So let's start by marking a few active trades. I don't really have any active trades open right now, but let's just pretend I do on AUDUSD. So to mark AUDUSD as a pair with an active trade, I click the little icon here that appears to the left of it when you hover over it. And I'm going to mark it green. Now green means active trade. Just so you know, this is my own personal system for marking. You don't have to mark them the same way. If you want to mark active trades red, go ahead. I mark my active trades green. Now, I'm also going to mark Euro New Zealand green. There we go. I have an active trade on AUDUSD and on Euro New Zealand. Now, if I want to see just these pairs on my watch list without seeing a bunch of other pairs, I can filter out all other pairs by clicking on the top right here and clicking active trades. Boom. That just filters them all out. I only see the pairs that I have active trades on. Now you might be thinking, why is this called active trades if I've already told you that you can make active trades whatever you want? Well, that's because you can name this list whatever you want. You don't have to call it active trades. That's the name I've given it. To change this name, you click here, click rename list, and then you just call it whatever you want. I'm just going to call it green list for this example. And now that's green list. Now let's switch back to the full list by going to here and clicking main, because that's where all my pairs are. Now let's say I have 2 active trades and I have a bunch of setups that I'm looking at but have not opened yet. Potential setups is what I call them. And let's just make up some pairs because there's no potential setups right now. It's a weekend. I'm going to mark these ones orange. Orange for me means large time frame setups. So setups that I'm looking at on the daily, 12-hour, 8-hour, etc. So let's pretend there's a setup on Euro GBP, there's a setup on GBP JPY, there's a setup on USD CAD, and there's a setup on AUD CAD. There we go. Now what I used to have to do when I had potential setups on multiple pairs is note them down in my notebook or on a notepad file or on my phone somewhere. That way when I came back to my charts a few hours later, I'd remember where all the potential setups are. But now I can just mark them orange, and when I come back, I can just filter out all the others, and I'm left with just my potential setups. Easy stuff. Now this feature has been a huge help to me in my trading, and it's made me a more efficient trader because now I can just mark pairs on the list, and when I come back to my charts, I know exactly what's going on right away. I don't have to go through my notebook and see, oh, I have a potential on USD CAD, on Euro GBP, blah, 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 and then find those pairs on the list. Nope, I can just look at all the orange flags, I can filter them, and I have all my potential setups right there. It is awesome. Now, before this video gets too long, I'm going to show you one other cool feature in TradingView. It's the bar replay feature, which can be used for backtesting. I personally don't use this feature much because I do my backtesting in Forex Tester Free, but Forex Tester Free can be quite pricey. It's not within everyone's budget, so you may want to use TradingView for your backtesting. To use the bar replay feature, all you do is click replay up here. Once you click replay, you'll see that you get this line here that attaches itself to your mouse cursor. Now, this line basically deletes all the candles that come to the right of it. So let's go back to the start of May 2018, which is here. Once I click this, you'll see that all the candles to the right of the red line disappeared. Now, I'm able to add these candles one by one, or I'm able to just play and have these candles add themselves one by one. See, I hit the play button here. You can speed it up, one update every half a second. You can pause it. You can click this to jump to a specific point, which we're not going to do. You can go forward to real time by clicking here, and clicking here is the coolest feature. It allows you to add one candle at a time, which is fantastic for backtesting. So that wraps it up for this video, guys. Check out the TradingView guide I've linked below for a whole lot more tips on how to use TradingView and of all the hidden features in TradingView. I'll see you in the next video.